Welcome to Boom-Bap Sundays, Season 1, Episode 5. Today we finally have a female on the show. I'm very excited about this one. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really great. Really great. Today's guest is Katlego Mokwana. She's a creative individual who focuses on natural dyes and fashion design. She's also a music selector and a DJ. So you know her playlist is gonna be really fire. You should catch that one on our Apple Music, but I'll let you know about that at the end of the show. Katlego, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So Katlacha is a creative above all. I like exploring everything that nature has to offer. So like natural dyes, natural textiles. And then I also love making clothes. I don't like saying that I'm a fashion designer, but because I studied fashion, I have to say fashion designer. I can't just say designer. So yeah, I think that's me in a nutshell. I love music, love music. And it's okay, cool.
So yeah, you were still telling me about being a DJ and a music selector.
Yeah, I think that came later on because I couldn't really use the equipment. And my laptop has been tricky, but yeah, I guess I'm a DJ. Yeah.
Alright. Which brings me to my next question. Mother of Gao, like that's one of like I can't even explain this name. Like the way it's so beautiful. Like how did you come? I mean, in a literal sense, you are Umama Gao, but
Yeah.
Mother of Gao as a brand, how did that name come about?
So literally, I can't take credit for Mother of Gao, even though I am Mother of Gao, but I can't take credit for saying like that's the name that I came up with. I had this friend of mine in varsity, Tegan. I don't know if you know Tegan D'Artagnan, but yeah, he used to call me Mother of Gao. So like it was a thing where it's like, hi, Mother of Gao, how's Gao doing? Stuff like that. And then when we had our annual like fashion show at Lysoft, we were like at the back, catching smokes or whatever, just chilling. And then he just suggested that I use it as a brand name. And I was like, I'll think about it. And then I eventually gave in. And that's how Mother of Gao came about, even though I am Mother of Gao. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really thought it was like a conceptual one, like it's really a beautiful name. I feel like we are yet to find like such a beautiful name and brands for years and to come. So why did you choose sustainability and why did you focus on sustainability and how is that incorporated into the brand?
Yeah. Sustainability basically because of how bad things are in the world, and how, the problem with like plastics and the fact that the fashion industry is like the second pollutant in the world. That just like blew my mind. I was like, okay, I can't be now contributing in this thing that I love and making the world like worse than what it is. So I just went into the whole sustainability route. I decided that when I do start my brand eventually, I'm going to use sustainable fabrics, and concentrate on that. But as I started my brand and also being so young and not having like income, it's a bit difficult to like buy sustainable fabrics because they're so expensive. So I guess that's where natural dyes found me, because it was like, in order for Mother of Gao to be sustainable, I can use like the fabric that we have. Right now I'm using bull denim because it is made out of 100% cotton, and that's like the most accessible and affordable fabric that I could get my hands on, even though it's not like what, yes.
Bull denim, yeah. Bull denim, yeah. Very beautiful, yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
even though bull denim is not really like the type of fabric that I want to work with, because I want to work with like sustainable silk and linen and hemp fabrics, which are much more expensive. So I figured, let me just naturally dye my bull denim in order for my stuff to be like to contribute to sustainability, in order for me to feel better about myself by saying that I am a sustainable designer, you know, not just like saying it and wanting to do it, but not doing what I can with what I have right now. Yeah. So I think that's how I got into the whole, like I'm like in the whole sustainability field thing, just to make the world a better place, you know? Yeah.
I
And
mean, we definitely need more people like you know, to make
yeah,
this
we really
world a
do.
better place, you know, because I feel like we are actually tipping into that era whereby sustainability is gonna be introduced in a whole lot of products, you know, not only clothing, but like I feel like that's the future we are tapping into like most of the companies that are established right now are choosing a sustainable route, whether it's within packaging or whatever that they do, of which it's a great initiative because we are putting things back to the world and we are making it reuse itself so that, you know, things like population cannot happen, you know. So natural dyeing is something that you use to add color and texture to your garments, you know. So take us a bit through that process, you know.
I don't know where to start, because when I do talk about natural dyes, people just get confused. They're like, okay, you're going in too deep now, because like I know the terminology and all that. But I guess adding color. So my natural dye journey started with tea. I was dyeing stuff with, I took like Joko from my mom's what's this pantry in the house. So I was just like dyeing stuff with tea, just put it in there to get like a brown color or whatever. So now I've ventured into like using plants as a way to add like texture, as you say, but texture in the form of like print, basically. So I've done that. And what else? So I use plants, leaves. I've used leaves. Like I literally take like a piece of leaf and just put it on fabric and just like stamp it on it to leave like the print on the fabric, which is pretty dope. Like it's actually the coolest thing I've ever done. But yeah, natural dyes are so like, I think, oh, I don't think they're good because like there's no chemicals used. I don't use any chemicals. I do, however, make like a natural chemical by using like iron liquid and stuff. But that's just for like when you dye the fabric, and it's like I dye the fabric, I make products, I give it to the customer. So when the customer gets the product and they wash it after they use it, it just helps with like the color not fading away. So yeah, I guess that's my natural dye process.
That's good. That's great because I feel like that also gives like your clothing like longevity too, you know. It
Yeah.
starts from a recycling process and it's a continuous recycling process, which is basically what sustainability is about. So like the next question is like really a question I wanted to ask you in the start of the interview. I just didn't want it to be too long. But I feel like I can just ask you. So like let's talk about growing up in the Vaal, you know, because once I got to school, I noticed that the Vaal is somewhat like a Soweto, you know, whereby it's like a cultural hub, you know, there's a lot of like subcultures there, there's a lot of artists there, there's
Yeah.
a lot of, they have like their own lingo, you know, so like, how does that inspire you coming from the Vaal, you know?
I don't know how I guess it inspires me by just me being a Val person
Part,
and
yeah.
being, you know, exposed
Yeah,
to the Val
yeah.
culture. But I think one of the biggest things that like inspired me would be literally like I used to live with my parents. Well, I lived with my grandparents when I was like in like what is it? Preschool. Yeah, I lived with my grandparents. So I think being exposed to the cultures, kokasi, kind of just like, you know, when people say you have childhood trauma or you just like your childhood determines a lot about you. So I guess like the culture and everything that I was surrounded by in my childhood contributed to like where I take my stuff right now. Cause I think also part of me being a maker and being so creative and dabbling in a lot of things comes from my grandparents, because they were really hands-on. Like my granddad did everything DIY. He would make like his own gate. He didn't like ask anyone to come do his stuff. Like he literally did everything himself. So I guess it was that. And then just I grew up around boys. I was like the only girl in the family. All my cousins are boys, like everyone. I'm just the only girl. So I guess I was also exposed to like certain cultures, because I remember one of my cousins was like a Milano person, like Nelis Kotane. So I guess like, yeah, it's like just being exposed to those type of people, those type of cultures, learning and knowing how certain people speak. So it's just like, I guess it's just being a Vaal person. It really is. Yeah. So I get inspired by a lot of things from my childhood and the people that I come across. Yeah.
Right. And there you go. That's a bit of like an extension of the background, Shandis over there. So on that note, I'd like us to end the interview. You know, it was really beautiful and insightful, you know, having this interview whereby you taught us about sustainability, natural dyeing, also a bit more about who you are. So thank you. Thank you very much for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was a bit
Thank you
nervous
very
because
much.
I was like, how do I tell people about myself? I'm not used to this. But yeah, shout out. Thank
Shout
you.
out. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. For our people out there, you're gonna catch Katlejo's playlist on our Apple Music profile and also on YouTube. She has Spotify, so I don't know if you're gonna plug our people there on Spotify. I
I'll
guess.
plug them. It's fine.
Okay, cool,
I'll
cool.
make it a public playlist. So
Cool,
they can
cool,
find
cool, cool. So
it. Yeah.
for our people on Spotify, we have one for you this week, you know. Thank you, courtesy of Katlejo. On that note, I'm signing out, yo. Peace.
Peace.